we've seen some awful images, apartment blocks hit, civilians covered in blood. Are we doing enough to help Ukraine?
I've just come off the phone again to President Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine. And let's be in no doubt, things are not going all the way of President Putin. Very far from it. The Ukrainians are fighting heroically and in some places with great success, as many of us thought they would, because they're a great country and a very brave country. But as you rightly point out, there are some terrible atrocities being committed, and there will be some very grim days ahead for Ukraine. We've got to do everything we can to change the heavy odds that Ukraine faces and to help them. And so that's why we're sending humanitarian supplies, we're sending financial supplies and military supplies as well. I think it's very important that we do that. The UK was the first European country to send military aid to Ukraine. Last night, many other countries joined in pledging to send military assistance. You're starting to see that grow. What we need to do now, and you ask, should we do more? The answer is yes, and we need to make sure that we apply those much tougher economic sanctions, including SWIFT. And what's starting to happen is that the horror of what is unfolding in Ukraine is becoming clear to Western audiences, and that is in turn putting huge pressure on Western politicians. We've got to act together, and we've got to do more.
Why aren't we taking refugees like some other countries?
Of course we're going to take refugees. This country's had a historic and proud role in taking refugees from all conflicts. And if you think what we did in Afghanistan, for instance, the UK was way out in front. I'm aware that there's some fake news on the internet about that, and I really want to knock that on the head. The UK is way out in front in our willingness to help with refugees. We've sent 1,000 troops to the theatre to be ready to help with the influx, and of course we will help people fleeing in fear of their lives.
Do you think diplomacy is dead now? Should we face facts that all the diplomacy that was done by Europe seemingly has had little effect?
I think we have to face the hideous reality that the diplomacy, as far as President Putin was concerned, was a charade. He never really intended to alter his course. You read the article that he wrote many months ago. It was clear that he's attached to a weird, semi-mystical view of Ukraine as part of Russia. And that is a view that the Ukrainian people fervently, passionately reject. And they're showing that they will fight to reject it. Our job now is to help them, to help change the very heavy odds that they face. And that's why we're sending the support that we are.
You mentioned SWIFT. Do we need to do more to push other countries to ban Russia from the SWIFT banking system?
I think that what you've seen just today is more countries joining the call of the UK to use SWIFT. SWIFT is the mechanism that stops people making payments to Vladimir Putin's Russia. It's incredibly important for tightening the ligature, the economic ligature around the Putin regime. And today you've seen more and more countries, France and others, coming forward to say that they will not block a banning, a boycott of SWIFT.
Let me ask you about sporting connections now. Poland and Sweden's football teams are refusing to play Russia in the World Cup playoffs. Should we be breaking off our sporting connections?
I think it's inconceivable to imagine that. It's a sad thing, because I don't think we've had a situation like this for a very, very long time. But it's inconceivable to me to imagine that normal sporting relations with Putin's Russia can continue.
And is it frustrating that some countries like China abstained rather than voting to condemn this illegal invasion at the UN Security Council?
I think what you're seeing today and over the last few hours is a sense around the world that this is a horror that they simply hadn't expected. And I think that feeling is strong and growing, not just in countries that have in the middle ground, but in Russia itself. You're starting to see that feeling that this is something unconscionable. So I think that in countries that have been apathetic on this issue so far. A sense of outrage and disgust is growing at what the Putin regime is doing in Ukraine. In the meantime, the UK is going to do everything we can to help and support our friends in Ukraine.
Okay, Prime
Thank
Minister,
you very much. Thank you.